go ahead and get started with Xander Schauffele at the Farmers Insurance Open. Xander, let's start with last week. This is your second consecutive year coming to Torrey Pines off of a T3 win at American Express. So can you just tell us what that top 5 finish does for your frame of mind going into this week?
Yeah, I mean, it shows that I'm, playing decent golf. It's the style of golf is very different, coming, from a birdie fest to what can be a par fest at times, depending on how windy it gets and how thick or firm the course is. So I think it means that I'm playing good golf and seeing my start lines and sight lines and things of that nature. But completely different animal this week.
And now we're transitioning to San Diego, where you're a native of. You've had great success here. I know you're familiar with the course. You had a T2 in 2021. Can you touch on your excitement to be back in your hometown?
Yeah, I'm always excited to be back in San Diego. It's a nice feeling for me, just like it is every year. Whether I'm golfing or not, it always will feel like home.
And then last question before we turn it over to the media. You're world number 5 ranked right now. What kind of motivation do you have to continue climbing up toward number 1 this season?
Yeah, it's sort of what drives me in my off season. What makes me get out of bed every day. It's just trying to get to the top, and there's a big leap I need to make. Scotty keeps running away and making it really difficult, so we'll just keep chasing after him.
Perfect. We'll go ahead and open it up and start with Todd Leonard here.
Hey.
Hi, Todd.
It's got to be almost comical to leave the desert on Sunday and come out here today and the conditions. I mean, do you face another 1 week to next week contrast as big as this one?
Probably not. I can't think of one right now. It could be. I'm trying to think of, maybe. Trying to think of what's close to the U.S. Open, maybe the Travelers after, but still, I mean, you get sort of on that sort of thicker grass. If it Travelers wet, the grass can kind of grow a bit there, but this is up there. We're on like dormant grass with super clean bent, and now you have all kinds of different grass that's super long because it rained a ton, and greens are pointed and soft, not rolling super pure, and it's just a completely different animal.
What did it look like today?
Yeah, better than I thought, to be honest. After a few inches of rain, it's definitely playable.
Would you play this every year if you weren't from San Diego?
I'm not sure.
What would go into your decision about playing here or not? Would it be the course
just
as much, or would it be
a little
schedule?
A little bit. I've been a big advocate of just having it on Torrey South. I think it's just a better test of 4 rounds of golf. I know we get 3 of them, 3 rounds on South, but South is just such a beast at times, and it really is. I think now that they made North a little bit harder, it probably is averaged out better, I'd say, versus like if when guys were shooting 10 under on North and then would shoot even par on South, you'd feel pretty good about it. But now it's sort of North has got some teeth of its own, with the rough being crazy long and the course having some serious distance on it. So, I'm not too sure though.
Just one more. For this big a test so early in the season, with you working on stuff and just getting into your game, is it good to have this tough of a test this early?
I think so. I mean, I think any property where you're forced to hit fairways, where you're forced to hit shot size shape away from hazards, where there's a lot of sort of penalty in play, I feel like it's the only way to truly test if your game's ready or not. For some bigger events later in the year.
We'll go to Rick. Oh, sorry. That's not your name. I'm sorry.
Hey, Xander. Growing up here in San Diego, I'm curious, do you have any good Tiger stories? All the other guys that came in here today were telling their favorite Tiger stories of seeing him out here. Any shots stand out or any holes or tournaments?
Yeah, I mean, I was on the tree on 18 that fell. I was hiked up pretty far on that tree. I remember I was going up the trunk of it as high as possible. I got pretty far above, just short left of the hazard on 18, and I had pretty much a straight-on sight line of him making his putt, and the whole sort of Coliseum feel that 18 was during that U.S. Open.
And then, do we make those of us in the media like talk about the home game for people who live in the area? Do we make too much out of that? Is that a myth because you guys are all coming out playing the same course over and over? Other people have course knowledge, so I'm curious, what do you think about that? I
mean, I'm sleeping in my own bed tonight and for the rest of this week, which is nice. So it definitely feels different. You know what I mean? And I think some, whether you put too much pressure on yourself or whether you see a bunch of family and you want to sort of show out for them, you can use that for motivation if you'd like. But, there's just some sort of level of comfort when you're sort of at home, and I try to use that to my advantage.
This is obviously one of the bigger events on the tour schedule, but it's pretty early in the season. You're taking these early tournaments to kind of get your game in form for the other bigger events that are to come. Is it tough not to look ahead to those when you're getting you're started early on?
I mean, not really. I'm pretty good at being a day-to-day guy and looking, to really prepare just for the tournament. So, it rained a ton yesterday, and no one was really able to practice, which is kind of nice, actually. It was actually, I think everyone was sort of relieved that played last week because it was like a true day of rest where you didn't feel like you were resting and losing sort of a little bit of practice and everything. So mentally, that sort of helps someone like me who I always feel like I'm losing out if I'm not, practicing as much as everyone else. But yeah, I mean, I'm not really looking too far ahead, just trying to figure out how to play well on this golf course.
Any other questions? Oh, right behind you here, Linda. Thank you.
Hi, do you prepare any differently for Torrey than other tournaments?
I think so. The rough is tricky around the greens, chipping onto Poana. Riviera's Poana as well, but you sort of chip off this Kikuya, which is a little bit more predictable based on how your ball's sitting. Out here, your ball can sit, on dirt. It can sit an inch off the ground, half an inch, 2, 3 inches off the ground, 4 inches off the ground, depending on sort of where it is in the rough. And guys who are really good rough chippers usually play pretty well this week. So for me, I feel like it was a short week of practice, and last week was all like perfect lies, and it was a bit of a wake-up call just playing 9 holes just right now, trying to figure out how to chip out of this rough again.
We're going to go over here to the back of the room.
Yes, Xander, first of all, your preparation for this year you were talking about, what are the events that you're looking forward to? And also, we're in an Olympic year. Could you give me your feelings about what it would be if you can defend your title?
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly pretty excited to play all the tournaments I signed up for. I don't think I would honestly play a tournament if I wasn't excited for it. I was a bit on the fence on this event just because it'd be 5 weeks in a row, but I told myself that I'd be pretty bummed out if I was practicing, 10 minutes away from here while this event was going on, watching leaderboard, watching while not playing. So I'm pretty much excited for all events, the Olympics especially. It's definitely up there on my list of goals just to get back to and compete in. It's very difficult being an American and trying to qualify for that team.
What do you think about the course? Have you played Le Golf National?
I have not. I've only seen some snippets of it on TV, but that was sort of tricked up for the Ryder Cup. But it looks like there's a ton of water on property. It looks like a pretty fun golf course to play, and it should be an awesome venue.
We'll go right here to Matt.
Good luck.
Xander, you mentioned playing last week. Just wanted to get your thoughts on what Nick did out there.
Yeah, it's incredible. He just turned 20 years old. He's a sophomore in college. I played against Hunter Hamrick, his assistant coach on the Corn Ferry, 8-9 years ago. It was cool to see him. And yeah, he's got a big decision to make. I think it's pretty mature for him to not play this week and sort of sit back. And I'm sure he's getting some good advice from his coaches, his family, some friends on what he should be doing. But ultimately, it's his decision. And yeah, for him to sort of set himself up. He shot 60 on moving day, which is what everyone dreams to do, and he had that lead and he protected it. So I think big hats off to Nick and what an accomplishment that is to make history.
All right. If there's no further questions, we'll let you go.
Cool.
Thank you. Good luck this week.